I went to that Black History Museum.
That black wax thing?
Nah, not that John. The John in D.C., the new one.
Okay, I ain't never been there.
That shit, it's kind of popping.
Okay.
But you got to be prepared for that too, because it's like miles of walking,
facts,
reading.
Yeah.
So make sure you
it's
pack
educational.
It's educational. Make sure you pack some snacks.
Yeah.
And some water, because it's not really that many places to stop and get stuff. You know what I mean?
Outside.
You're gonna be walking for at least 4 hours.
It's outside or inside?
Inside.
Okay.
But it's just like a little tour. It starts you from like 1400s.
Oh, you got a tour guide. You can't go at your own pace.
No, you go at your own pace, but
Okay.
they just start you at the bottom. Or I don't know. It's some way they do it. You get in the elevator.
Yeah.
Then they start you.
But
at
I can dip off and
1400s.
go get something to eat and come back.
You could, but you gotta start the joint all the way over.
Oh, because you're going up steps and shit.
Yeah,
Okay,
steps and,
yeah.
and ramp. It's like ramps.
Oh, okay, I got you.
It's hot.
You got to go on the natural path of it. You
Yeah.
can't just pick up.
It's hot, but it takes you like 1400s and all the, just how history all the way up to like 2000, is it like to where LeBron and Hov and you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
it takes you from how the slaves got over here,
Mhm.
everything that happened all the way up to now to how black culture is now.
Like, okay.
And it's hot. It's a lot of reading, and you gotta know what you're getting yourself into. But it's free.
Right.
I feel like everybody should go. It was white people in there, black people in there.
Right.
And it's crazy because like when we was talking about Made in America, like Hov performed that Still Nigga,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like
You get it.
it reminded me of being there because
Right.
like the white people reading and seeing the shit that the black people went through as the black people watching it too. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like,
Do you think that's always gonna be a thing? Like, you still always gonna be a nigga? Like,
I think.
or do you think nigga will eventually become? We always remember where it stemmed from, but do you think
Right.
nigga will
Become poor.
Poor.
Yeah, nigga will eventually become poor in how you act. Like there's white
Or
niggas
do you think
still.
nigga will become?
Like the way we kind of like got ourselves out of that nigga mode and nigga word is like white people can be a nigga now. You feel me? Because there's poor white people who kind of don't know how to act. Like a lot of Trump supporters is kind of like niggas.
But we call each other niggas.
But they kind of like, what do we
like
call them?
I call you
Crackers
my
or-
nigga.
Yeah.
I think there will come a day where nigga is not even like black people won't even be hurt by when a white person say it.
Yeah.
Facts. I think nigga will become like motherfucker or like it
Well,
will
that's
become
how,
like
well, wasn't it? I mean, they
It'll
was
become
hurt.
like
They was
bitch.
hurt. They
It'll
was hurt
become-
by it back then, but it's like they couldn't do nothing about it. So,
who?
like, let's say like 1845, you was a slave.
And somebody
He
calls
was
you a
like,
nigga.
"What's up?" I mean, the white dude was like, "Hey, nigga."
Mm-hmm.
Like, you probably just thought of it if it was like, "Hey, man," or because you was black, but or you saying it like everybody would be using it equally.
I think it like white people will be calling like, chill, nigga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think so?
I mean, nigga can. There's a possibility you can see some black people around some white people. The word nigga flies from a white person's mouth and nothing happens. Like some crowds.
I mean, if they call each other it, but
Period.
I mean, or if they, yeah,
Like there's a times where you can see white people like, chill, nigga.
Nah, it's
When
slowly.
our parents, white person
Nah.
saying nigga, they getting fucked up.
Right, but no, it's slowly but surely becoming nothing.
Less sensitive, yeah.
Right,
yeah.
but
the power is gonna be taken
Evolution.
out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So everybody need to go.
So I say that to say, so do you think there will be a time where like, you know how Jay was like, you know what I mean, white, basically saying no matter how rich you are, you still a black person. Do you think we'll eventually get out of that? Or do you think black people will always be the number two? Because it seemed like it's transitioning to like soon we're going to hold all the power.
I mean, and that's with anything. Soon the last would be the first.
Yeah.
So, then it could be a time where the shit shift again.
Just like I'm sure there was a time before we came over here, black people were kings, and I heard they had slaves in Egypt.
Right. I mean, but they were fiends. They were like people who, like, that fuck off, that don't really have no. There's a lot of people who don't have ambition. Like,
But
everybody
we can't
born-
use that as an excuse because the people they brought over here, a lot of them were poor. They brought poor because there were black
Okay,
people
no, you
selling
right.
those people
Now
to
you're
the
right.
white
There were
people.
poor people, but
Yeah.
a lot of people who were fiends, like crackheads,
Facts.
like back in the day. You know, what I mean,
Most-
heroin addicts back in the day. They worked for their daily high. They weren't really looking for longevity and trying to build family. You know what I mean?
I'm sure
It
a
was-
lot of
it
poor
was-
people were though. A lot of poor people are poor.
I'm saying
for a reason.
if you're raised that way, if you're
Yeah.
not taught that you're more than what you are, you're just. I mean, you could easily manipulate a
So
baby.
you think that's an excuse
for what?
to make somebody a slave?
It's not. But at the end of the day, if I feel like
Because if you get why Egyptians have slaves, you have to get why white people have slaves.
I honestly do. I
Oh,
honestly
you
do.
get why white people have
I
slaves.
honestly do see that with slaves this
Because
economy
some of
grew a
slaves
lot
weren't
faster.
educated before they even brought them over here. The white people were educated, but there were
Right.
some black people that were educated and they couldn't take them motherfuckers as slaves. You
Right.
see what I'm saying?
Right. I'm saying right. So I feel like the black man or body is a lot more stronger and built for the sun and built for the shit that they couldn't do. So they had to take those uneducated people and buy them and trade for them.
Treat them like cattle.
And poor people who really didn't have nothing to do, who offered themselves as slaves. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So they were taken, and there were people who were brutal, taken away and stolen. But at the end of the day, I do see in the earth way, down the earth way, I do see why and how slaves built this nation and made it a lot better than it would have
Like
been.
you're saying, like if it wasn't for slaves, we would be like no different than like Iraq and them.
Iraq and them. We would have huts and
Right.
carrying water on our head. But I'm not saying it was okay because inside of me is angry.
But it's the reason why we are where we are now.
But it's the reason why we're here where we are today. And I like
so
as a down to earth person, I appreciate
not appreciate.
but like I understand and I get how everything has been built and why and
Like what slavery did for the country.
right? Because it wouldn't be what it is.
So to flip it, if you could do some magic shit and go back in time, and you can either opt for slavery in the world to be where it is now, or say no slavery and you don't know what the outcome's
I don't
gonna be.
think black people would know themselves and how talented they really are without it.
Okay, but I'm saying if you can go, no, because there's Africans that are talented that never became slaves and never were slaves. Like there were black people before slaves. There were kings in Egypt and shit like that. So there were people who were more advanced than the people who was coming. There was the people who like, if you take these motherfuckers, you got to pay me, nigga. I got the juice over here. You see what I'm saying? Like I don't know, I wasn't here, but I hear there was one, like when they came over and took some people, like there was some heads that was like, yo, I feel you, but I'm seeing eye to eye with you. Like I'm just as smart and powerful as you. So I say that to say if you could go back and because you're talking about maybe black people, but we don't know. Black only came from African.
Right.
Because they came to America and then they became integrated with white people and shit like that.
Okay.
So I say that to say if you can go back and we understood that the country was built off slavery, so in a nutshell, it kind of did make the country what it is. So you can go back and either erase slavery and don't know what the world's going to be, or you can just let it flow the way it flowed. And people got died, people got get hung the same way.
Right.
But you have a choice. Kind of like if you can go back, would you kill baby Hitler? Kind of some shit like that. So if you can go back, would you decide to make slavery happen and the world still becomes what it is now, or don't make slavery happen? Is a chance we could be Iraq, or is a chance we could be fucking China?
Because I don't know if what's in me is either greedy or if I'm just supposed to accept what's going on. You know what I mean?
Because that goes
like,
back to what I was saying about the population. If you had to either kill 500 people now or risk 10,000 people.
But it's like almost like knowing your self-worth or being like, I ain't shit. I ain't no better than the next man. So it's
about making a decision. It's about sacrifice.
It's about sacrifice.
It's about willing to say, I don't care about the people that get hurt.
Or having a vision.
People got to die.
Because there
Doesn't make it
were
right.
like you said, there were kings in Egypt, but I'm pretty sure they didn't build the pyramid themselves.
Yeah, slaves did. A lot of slaves.
Right.
Well, there were some workers. There was definitely some
Right,
workers.
or
But I'm sure
people,
some of them were servants.
But at the end of the day, there was people who probably conquered this, and then you had to either put in more work than normal so they can get, like almost like free labor. Like I'm going to pay you $5 so you can do this. Where normally today it should be like $20. You know what I'm saying? So you're not really losing anything for paying this dude, but this person is able to live and build your company up. it was just a bunch of companies and businesses back in the day. That's how I see it.
Right.
And for the fact that they brought our people over here and did this, like I really, I honestly don't know if I would want to be living in Guam or you know what I mean, or
Right.
the Congo carrying shit on my head. Like I
That's what I'm saying. Would you just let slavery rock out, or would you decide, all right, fuck that? If I can make slavery not happen, I'm not gonna make it happen. Or would you rock out, let it happen? The world is what it is now, or never slavery never happens, and you don't know if it's Guam.
So my choice, because I think it was supposed to happen for the fact that people survived and got over here.
People
and
didn't survive. You survived. Your generation survived. Some generations died.
No,
out.
I'm saying some people did, but some people did die, but
Yeah,
some
a lot of
people
people
did.
did
Some people
die.
didn't.
Yeah.
So when they got up, they was probably appreciative, like, damn, I made it. Let me,
Well, I got off the boat,
yeah.
but then they could have died after they got off the boat.
You're right. And there's a lot of people. They were saying that black people was already over here, and that most of the people who came over here was transported didn't even make it. They
Yeah.
were saying that they was just over here gentrifying these people who was over here in America.
Indians,
so I
like
don't
that.
really know what history is,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of
I mean, a lot of people made it from the slave ship. A lot of people didn't.
A lot of people
It's a
didn't.
long journey.
They were saying
wasn't
that
giving them
black
no
people
food
was
and shit.
already over here, and Indians, and you know what I'm saying,
sure,
and
yeah.
mixing and just all that shit. So it's like, I really don't know, but it's just like, I don't appreciate slavery at all. But it's just like some people do fuck off,
Yeah.
and you need to make them do something because they're gonna either leech or take from you or not, or feel like, you know, they're just here just to you know what I mean? Like, do you believe there are people who don't feel like they should or have to do anything,
Right.
and then there's people who feel like, all right, well, you know, there's creators and there's inventors, and then there's people who kind of play the middle.
There's workers and there's consumers and there's sellers, right?
So
There's-
it's just like I guess it's just human nature, man.
yeah.
Like
I mean, there's that's what the strongest will survive. That doesn't necessarily mean you got to turn people into slaves, though.
right. Nah, you're right. But I guess
I'm not saying either way. I'm just curious what you would
like
do.
me personally, I would just like to help people.
But if
gain-
you had to make the choice, slavery in America is what it is today,
Damn.
or say, yo,
can I take a piss and think about it?
well, yeah, think about that, bro.
Talk to the people about how you feel about it.
It's just like a lot of times I feel like as society we question whether it be a worker and you question what your boss do, or it be a resident of the United States and you question what the president does. A lot of people critique the people in power without understanding what it feels like to have the power. Like I was saying, let's say that the government had a choice. They knew if they killed 1,000 people tomorrow, they could guarantee the safety of the world. They can guarantee the safety of the world 20 years from now.
Oh shit!
But if they don't kill the 1,000 people,
God
it's not
damn.
guaranteed the
Nah, I
world will
got you.
end. But if they don't kill the 1,000
What
people,
you seen, the 100?
no.
Oh, okay.
I'm just
go
saying.
ahead, go
I'm
ahead.
just saying. If they don't kill 1,000 people, there's a possibility that
You a
a
savage.
bunch of people could die. Like the world could end in 20 years. Like you have to make a decision, but you don't know. Like it's
Nah, I
not
got
easy.
you.
It's not like I can
got
kill
you.
1,000 people and we
got
good,
you.
or
And
we
you
not
right,
and we.
you
It's
right.
like you gotta.
That
kinda-
being able to make that decision is very hard. And you're right. There's people who can critique the person who makes that decision, but they would never be able to make it
themselves.
ever.
Right. So, what decision would you make?
As a person that I am,
Yes.
I feel like I'm more of a seller than a buyer.
So you would
I don't know if
you would let
I don't-
slavery happen.
Man, that's a hard question because, like I said, I see outside of the box. I see what it did, even though I don't appreciate what happened,
How it got there.
or the, you know, the way they explained it to me, it was fucking brutal.
Got it.
So whether it was or not,
Got it.
because I didn't see it,
Got it.
I believe it.
Right.
And it kind of makes me think like that shit was wrong. But at the end of the day, I don't think we'll be where we at as a country if it wasn't because of it.
So that's like this. That's like two families, the Hiltons and the Burgers or whatever, right? And these are just two families. They both impoverished and shit like that. They both want to be dynasties. The Hiltons, they go rob a bunch of banks. They kill a bunch of people, and then 100 years from now, they family got a dynasty. And the burgers, they do it the right way. They're gonna be poor. The kids are poor. The kids are poor.
That's
but
what
listen,
the
look,
civil rights.
the kids are poor.
Civil War was
but then
about.
eventually, if they keep pushing it,
Over
maybe
300 years.
right, maybe it don't take them 100 years to do it, but it make them 300 years to do it.
Right.
So I say that to say maybe with slavery, the U.S. gets popping faster than ever. It's popping in 200 years. In 100 years, we're the strongest country ever. But without slavery, there's a possibility that we do get there, but it may take 500 years instead of 100 years.
Right.
So I say that to say, agreeing with slavery doesn't mean you're a seller, right? That just means you willing to get successful off someone else's work, right? Slavery is kind of like ghostwriting. It's kind of like stealing somebody's raps.
But what if they didn't know their potential?
Is that potential? You murdered them. You raped
No,
them.
not
You
raping,
killed the
but
babies.
not that
yeah,
part.
But you know, but you
Okay, you talking about all that?
Yeah,
then I don't agree with that part.
No, but I don't agree with it. But I'm saying you have a decision. You can either keep slavery and America is popping, or you can abolish slavery. And it's possible America could be Iraq, or it's possible America could be Australia, which is all right. Or it's possible it could be Japan, which is popping. But you don't know. Like that's what I said. It's like you can kill 1,000 now or take a chance that 10 million may die in 20 years. You don't know if the 10 million is going to die, but you know what I mean? But you know if you kill these 1,000, you straight. It's like you know if slavery happens, America does get popping.
It's like the Belko experiment. You seen that movie?
I seen the Belko experiment.
You had to kill a certain amount of people in order to keep a certain amount of people alive.
Right,
Shit
and you
crazy.
didn't know for sure if you kill them that they'll even let everybody live.
Right,
but you kind of got to make a choice.
I don't think I have the savagery to make people like, yeah, well, we gonna go get that group of people over there, and we're gonna make them work for us so we can just chill. And I don't think I had that in me.
Yeah, nah. Yeah, because I think that's like cheating, right? That's cheating.
It's cheating, even though I do see how like some people don't see their potential, and some people might fuck off, and you know maybe this person might chase flowers and butterflies all day. You like, man, we need help over here in the field. Like,
but okay, that's different. That's more like you making them work, or saying if you don't work, you're going to jail. But not like if you don't work, I'm gonna rape your kids, or if you don't work, I'm gonna kill your kids.
Yeah, that
like,
part is bad, but like,
but that's slavery though. Like that's why when people say we're slaves now, you're not a fucking slave.
I got you.
Whether your mentality may be slave mentality,
but the fact that I'm gonna take your money away from you and your food and
I'm not taking anything from you. I'm just not giving it to you. You're not
Yeah.
taking it from me. If I quit my job, they're not taking the money that's in my bank right now.
Right.
They're not giving me more money. I'm not taking anything from you.
But your bills are taking it from you.
That's just that's just what it is.
Somebody's running all that shit.
They're not taking it because I don't have to pay them
Somebody's
bills.
running all that though.
Somebody is running it, but that's called a ecosystem. That's just a financial. I mean, there has to be bills, and I mean, there has to be.
I got you.
Like that makes sense. But I'm saying that's why when people say that, because it's so funny as the thing on The Office where they was like, where the dude was saying, I mean, I was in federal prison. Prison was kind of popping. It was kind of a little better than this office. And the people in jail and the office was like, man, damn, prison better than here. Fuck this job. And then the worker and the boss was like, oh, y'all think this is prison? So he locked them in the office, right? And the HR dude came and was like, yo, they aren't saying that they are prisoners. They're just joking, but saying like there's some parts of prison that is better than here. So there's some parts of the way we live in where it's like, oh, it's kind of like slavery, but you ain't really slaves. Slaves, if they didn't work, they was getting murdered. Their wives were getting raped. That's slavery. You see what I'm saying? Like, so we're not slaves, but like we're at the bottom of the food chain. Right. So taking somebody and saying, yo, you got potential. I'm going to bring you over here. I'm going to make you a worker. I'm going to let you move up. Slaves really couldn't move up. The most you can move was into the house. And even then, you got treated like a piece of shit. Like, you still, if you didn't listen, you was getting raped. It didn't matter. You could have been a house nigga or yard nigga. If you didn't listen, you was getting fucked up. You was still a slave. Man.
Right.
Slavery at no point was.
But I'm saying, it's like, if you don't listen at work, there's a chance that they could try to take the money out your pocket.
No, they can't take anything out your pocket. Not legally, at least not right now.
I'm saying, but if you don't make no money, that's out your pocket.
That's a choice, though. You choose to have things.
Yeah, but back in the day, you didn't
have a choice
as a slave, but you was getting fed every day. you knew where you was going to sleep every day.
or was death. But there
Without-
was no in between. I can have no money and still know where I'm gonna sleep. I'm gonna go sleep at that Acme, my nigga. I'm gonna go sleep at that Acme, and I know what I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna go to the homeless shelter. Like you have a choice. Like there's some people who choose to live off the grid and they just fucking walk around and they get scraps while they can. Like I don't know if you know, like the story of Buddha was supposed to be, it was like a king and a prince, and he always thought like everybody lived this way. My dad's rich. I live banging. I thought everybody lived there because it was in a castle and shit, and he was in a community. One time his dad, he was supposed to stay there. One time he escaped out, right? And he realized, everybody, like, this world is fucked up. Like, I thought everybody had it this way, but everybody don't. And then eventually he chose, even though I got all this, he ran away and just was impoverished for like 10, 20 years, and eventually he just got wise and supposedly became Buddha. I don't know if that's if that's exactly how it went, but that's something like that. So I say that to say people have a choice now. You have a choice. Like, you don't have to work.
Yeah, but if you don't,
you say you got bills, you don't have to have a house. If you don't want a house, and you can survive your whole life without a house.
But Buddha was probably at peace because he understood.
I don't even know if that's a true story.
Right, but it sounds like it could be.
But I say that to say you have a choice. Like you said, if I quit my job, they no longer give me money and my bills. But what if I don't have bills? What if I just live off the grid? I'm just walking around
back in the day, they probably did have like,
there was no outs. There was no outs. You either was a slave or you was dead. It was nothing else. They wouldn't say, "Oh, well, if you don't want to be a slave, I'll send you up," because slavery wasn't up north. So I'm gonna send you up north, and you ain't got a job and shit. But you can be homeless up north. Nah,
you're right. You was either
actually, when slavery was abolished, niggas don't really notice. After slavery was abolished, they let black people go. You can go, but if you don't find a job and get a house, you're homeless. And being homeless was illegal, so they could arrest you and make you work for free.
Oh yeah.
So most people,
free?
That's what they do in jail right now. Like,
right.
I mean, you got to work in jail. You know what I mean?
That's where prisons.
That's kind of like prisons. You know what I mean? In a sense, because
I believe it. They was teaching shit like that.
So
up there.
even after slavery was quote unquote abolished, just like Life. Remember the movie Life? That wasn't even close to slavery times, but they were working.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what jail used to be.
Labor.
You had free labor, but they would arrest motherfuckers who were homeless, and now they just slaves all over again. You know what I mean? So they didn't have a choice.
Right.
Like,
but homeless people don't get arrested no more.
nah, homeless people don't get arrested. Right. You know what I mean? Like you're allowed to be homeless. I think you can't be drawling and shit like that. Like they can tell you to move from in front of certain businesses and shit.
Right.
But
you
know
can
what I mean?
sleep outside.
You can find a place to sleep outside.
Right,
so
right.
niggas got a choice. The world is fucked up. It's hard to live, but it's everywhere. Like it's like a jungle. It's just it doesn't look like a jungle because we have a visual of what a jungle is, like animals and trees and shit. But at the end of the day, we in a jungle.
Right.